19. Ready to go. Set up. Welcome back. Here we go. Another episode of the Collegian Cooldown. We're really doing it. We're here. We're doing it. Weekly.
We're doing it big or what?
We're going big. We're going strong here. Welcome back. Got quite a few things to talk about. You see basketball right here, football right there. There's a little thing called the sports equinox. It just happened. The major sports all had games on the same day, and if you're a fan of the sport, of any of those sports, a chef's kiss.
If you're a fan of every sport, probably a little overwhelmed like me.
Yeah,
but,
you know, like our March Madness discussion. Probably a little overwhelming, but, of course, so much going on. So many great sports. And even here on Fresno State's campus, there's a bit of a sports equinox. A lot of things coming together around at the same time.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
This is the best time of year. For college athletics.
Temperature is going like this.
It's actually, it's comfortable in Fresno. Yeah. It's nice. We don't have to, break out the shorts, wear some pants, wear some long sleeves.
Mm-hmm. For some reason, it's still 80 degrees. It's gone like this, and we're back up to 80.
Better than last October, where it was 105 on my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of birthdays.
Happy
birthday, my man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Big 2-1. Big 2-1. We love that.
Here we go. Yeah, I was unavailable for last Saturday's game. I was on assignment. I appreciate that. On the Instagram post, on assignment. So, football game. As far as the product on the field for the team, was not the greatest, but the coverage was excelente. We had a good group out there.
It was fun. We had a lot going on. Made some history. I mean, some bad history, but history's history. So, we'll take it. It was kind of ironic that it was exactly 45 years between shutouts.
Kind of spooky. October 25th, 1980.
Yeah, October 25th may not be the greatest day for Bulldog athletics. So maybe because volleyball got shut out, football got shut out. That was a bad homecoming week.
Weird things going on. But nevertheless, we're talking about that football game. Why don't we start it with whatever happened last Saturday?
Yeah, that was a tough one to watch. I'm in the press box getting ready to get my first update going. Held San Diego State to a punt.
Mm-hmm.
Down on my computer, and all I hear over the PA is, "And at starting quarterback, number 17, Carson Kong." And I was like, wait, what? That is not what I'm used to hearing. So I looked up, and sure enough, there was Carson Conklin running out on the field. And I was like, okay, you know what? This is what everyone's been wanting. Everyone's been clamoring for it on social media. And, the first drive looked decent. They got him down to the 35, and they decided to punt, which, interesting choice looking back on it. But, is 52 yards in Dylan Lynch's range? Maybe for the first drive.
I believe he's made over 50-plus before, but different season.
First drive of the game, you don't want to give him the ball at the 42.
Yeah, you can understand it. That was definitely asked during Monday's press conference, and he said, well, 60% on our field goals, and that's a bit of a long one. I know you're used to seeing Aubrey and the Cowboys pin those. It's got to be
every
65
kicker, really.
Plus. All those kickers in the NFL. College a bit different, and he chose to take a little bit more of a analytical approach, maybe
a little conservative,
trying to pin those Aztecs back. And however you feel about it, it really it doesn't matter because whether those 3 points, it makes a difference with the 40 years shutout. You keep that streak going.
Yeah.
But 3 points at the end of the day against a good team like San Diego State is not.
But I mean, maybe those 3 points gives the offense a little bit of
something
juice, a little bit of lubricant moving forward that they kind of seized up through the next 50 minutes of the game. But yeah, and then throughout the game, I was kind of getting ready for the E.J. Warner update that he was coming back. I thought maybe, after that first 3 and out on the second drive, I thought, okay, maybe we'll put him back in. Nope. I was getting ready for halftime because they had a really bad 2-minute drill.
Yeah.
Nope. And I mean, after halftime, I was like, all right, he's going the distance because you don't do that if you're not going to stick with him, and that was confirmed on Monday.
Whether you think it is a good move or not, however you feel about the situation, I think it is a good move. Knowing you're going to stick with him, you keep him in that game, give him some valuable reps. Because at the end of the day, it was still a winnable game.
It really was, up until the pick six. I mean,
it is a close game. You're trying to get a spark, and it should give your QB confidence. Hey, we're sticking with you the rest of the way. So this is your chance to go out there and get some valuable reps.
I think the frustrating thing though is just that this is what everyone has been wanting, and it just fell flat on its face. I don't blame people wanting this change, but then you look at the reaction on social media, even under the post for our story, everyone was like, "Bro, why put EJ back in?"
Yeah.
It's like, okay, but you were literally just asking for this change. So it was a bit interesting. But yeah, I don't know.
So this begs the question, is it the quarterback? Is it the system? Is it
I think it's the system. Because you look at the last 2 games, I mean, the 21 points are a little window dressy at Colorado State. That game was over in the first half, 35-7. But yeah, I mean, zero points, and it wasn't even like there was any chance at getting into opposing territory. I mean,
red zone was not a thought at all.
They got 1 trip at the end with 3 minutes left.
Yeah,
and then turn it over on downs. If you're looking for if you're just wanting points at that point, because you're down 23-0 with 3 minutes left, just kick the field goal. I mean, you're not going to come back from that. I mean, as crazy as the last home game against San Diego State was, you're not coming back from 23 down in 3 minutes.
Yeah. If you didn't watch the game, if you weren't at that 12:30 kickoff, and you went online, you looked at the highlights, there wasn't
a lot of red and black.
No, there was not a lot of black shirts with the ball doing a whole lot of anything. I went back and rewatched them again. It was a whole lot of white jerseys with the ball and moving it downfield.
Yeah.
And on the off chance that there was a Fresno State possession, it did not end up great.
No. And, I mean, you notice the ineptitude of the offense, and the fans notice it. They got that big turnover in the red zone where they absolutely just blew up that trick play. I mean, I think it was Braca that came in, just absolutely smoked the guy. And Jack scoops it up and gets, 10, 15 yards, which I thought he had a chance for a house call. But, man, I don't know if he was moving in slow motion or if San Diego State's that fast. I was like, oh, man, unhitch the trailer. And they get 2 yards out of it.
Yeah, you're thinking that's the spark.
You are at the 47-yard line. And excuse my French, but you are a piss length away from midfield and opposing territory, and you can't get in.
Yeah,
that's unacceptable.
Should have been the spark. I mean, because you saw what they did against Oregon State. They took advantage of the mental errors by the opposing team. San Diego State, whatever their play calling, they're trying to get cute right there. They pounced on it. They did the right thing. They got that ball back. But to come away with no points,
and
just not. It's like that turnover never even happened.
Exactly. They defense was really good. I mean, they forced 2 turnovers, which is as many turnovers as San Diego State has had this season, They forced their first, not forced, but they recovered San Diego State's first lost fumble of the season. They picked off Jaden Mandel. Or, no, Denegal, sorry. Got the third stringer on the mind. Jaden Denegal. And, you know, the turnovers weren't the issue this game. It was the offense, and that's not something you expect because this team has been able to take advantage of those turnovers all season long. You look at the Oregon State game, the Hawaii game, the Nevada game. You know, just nothing this game. It was weird. I don't know if it was if it was the start time, if it was the new quarterback, because I will say, like, you could definitely see the miscommunication. There was a lot of routes that weren't either run correctly or the ball wasn't there on time, which is something that, you know, EJ had the advantage of. He'd had 7 games worth of snaps, and, you know, looking back on it, I think they were just waiting for a loss to switch quarterbacks because, I mean, Enz mentioned it was the turnovers. That was the main driving force. But if you're still winning games, you can't make a quarterback switch. That looks really bad. You lose the locker room. It's easier to do it after a loss, and such a big loss against the Rams in that sense.
Yeah.
So
yeah, against that team, that situation. We'll touch on one of the plays from the San Diego State game, but moving towards that battle for the milk can on Saturday. Another 12:30 kickoff. Ooh, spooky.
1:30.
1:30. Ooh.
Be
It's
ready
not
to
a night
play.
game, okay?
Be
You got to
ready
be
to
ready to play no matter what.
Wake up, have some pre-workout, have some coffee. That's what the Blue Jays did in Game 4. They went 18 innings, 6-hour game. Came back ready.
Don't matter, Vlad Guerrero doing it again. But looking over to that, what's going to be shown on that blue turf over there, Maddox Madsen knows how to get up there and play.
And that white boy pisses me off a little bit. I don't know. He just... Granted, I haven't watched a ton of Boise State football. But what I have watched is their game against Penn State last year in the college football playoff. And I don't know. I don't think he was that good.
Well, you know, Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State.
Okay. If we're going to compare Penn State and Boise State, it's not going to be a 1-1. Big Ten versus the Mountain West, there's going to be a little bit of a difference.
Pac-12 technically.
Yeah, well, okay, we can split atoms later, but Madsen takes care of the ball, completes a high percentage of passes.
Yeah, I mean, look, San Diego State did that, and they were able to hold Denegal to minimal yards and completions and an interception and held the passing game out of the end zone. So, you know, this defense has no issue. If the defense plays like they did and the offense just shows up, I see no reason why this team can't pull off an upset. It's just the road games have been so tougher on this team for whatever reason. And you look back at, I hate bringing it up, but the week 0 loss at Kansas, just nothing. The win against Oregon State was great, but I gotta remember they almost blew that game.
That was a handed win, and there's a reason why Coach Bray is not the head coach of Oregon State because of games like that, where it was just handed. Special teams handed the Bulldogs the win that week.
And then, you know, the Hawaii game, where it's a last-second save on a 2-point conversion, and then where the wheels fell apart against Colorado State, where it's a 35-7 just demolishing of the defense. So I don't know what it is, if it's travel, if it's just playing away from home, whatever it may be. It's something that great teams do, is win on the road. And, you know, they're 2-2, but you want your team to be more than 2-2 on the road.
You need to bring that energy, especially this time of year. It was asked in after the game on Saturday and also in Monday's press conference why there seems to be this plateau, and so his always responds with, "If I knew that, I would probably not be here. I would have sold that information for
Yeah, I mean
a lot of money."
that's true. I mean there's really no definitive answer. It's either we got duped by an easy schedule
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit of luck, considering Oregon State, or teams just figure you out and your play calling gets stale and you don't adapt. So there is an answer,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not a simple black and white, oh, if you change this, you're going to win games late in the season.
The good teams find that answer quicker than others, and they do something about it. They're not sitting trying to come up with an answer. They're making the changes, and Fresno State's made that change with Conklin. It's got to be frustrating for fans because they make that switch. I think a lot of people see that they make that switch and go, "Oh, okay, we're back." It's going to take a
Yeah.
little bit of time. A shutout obviously stings, but I think you can give them a little bit of a break. But doing that ahead of the toughest conference game of the season so far it's a decision. They're going with that the rest of the year, and we'll just have to wait because I think a lot of fans will have to eat their words later on, but at the same time, it could also blow up in their face.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's the right move to go with Conklin for the rest of the season. As much as, I hate to see EJ lose that spot because I think he had that chemistry that you lose going into that homecoming game. If you go back on it, you really lose trust within all your players, not just the quarterback room, because players start second guessing, is my job safe, stuff like that. So it's tough, and it's a tough job, and then it's a tough decision for Entz to make. But I think it was a needed decision. I mean, as tough as it is, and as reactionary as every fan base is when a decision doesn't work that you want to go back to what was, I think sticking to your guns is the right move.
Yeah, and I think one half of football is not enough to say, okay, it didn't work, let's just go back to EJ.
Exactly.
So I respect and sticking it out and now saying he's our QB the rest of the way. We're going to ride with him and go from there.
Yeah.
So they'll be going with him on the blue turf.
On the Smurf turf.
On the Smurf turf at Albertson Stadium. This will be
It's a sellout, so it's going to be
an actual sellout?
Yeah. Boise State announced that it is a full sellout for Saturday's game. And honestly, I think you're really going to see what you have in Conklin. Because, if he walks into that stadium and hangs his nuts and drops a W, boom, you got your starter for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
But
at the same time, Boise State's got a very solid overall team, balanced on the offense.
Well, I mean, they're in the playoff for a reason last year. And as bad as they lost to Penn State, I think they just got an unlucky draw where, you're facing, I mean, no matter who they played, they were going to have a tough draw. Like, if they played Notre Dame or if they played Ohio State or if they played Texas. Like, there's no easy game there. But you just gotta take that with a grain of salt, and you can't focus on, oh well, they were in the playoff last year, so it's a different team. They don't have a 2,000-yard rusher. They don't have the same. It's not the same team.
They do have a solid backfield though, featuring their third option at RB, Malik Sherrod. Familiar name for the Bulldog fans, for the Red Wave. Maybe there's a little bit more emotion on the hits for some guys, On
Maybe.
that D line, they see, I don't know what number he is now if he switched, but maybe they see Sherrod on that back of the jersey and go, yeah, let's put a little
extra oomph in
a
that
little
hit.
something in there. Going in conference to an opponent like Boise State is a decision, and we'll see if there's any added emphasis when they're trying to wrap up. Is he
Number
22?
23.
He's 23?
23.
Okay. 23.
Yeah. I mean, I think a really good point of emphasis would be our running game.
Have to get that going again.
I mentioned in the pregame that we haven't had a 100-yard rusher since week 1 against Georgia Southern. And, they rushed for over 250 yards over 45 times. And I don't know. I know they haven't had a rusher over 100 yards, but I don't know if they've had a game with more than 30 attempts. I'm pretty sure they have. But, you have a really good duo in Donaldson and Luke. And it just kind of feels like they're not utilizing them enough.
And when they do, the opportunities are just not there.
3rd and 8, 3rd and 6. You can't expect your guys to get you 6 yards every play. And this isn't any shot at the other running backs, but you have 2 superstars. I will call them superstars in Luke and Donaldson, and it just feels like they're not being put in the right packages. They're just not in. They're not in sync with anything. I think the one thing that you saw against Georgia Southern and Southern was that they were in sync, and the line was getting good penetration and allowing good holes for Donaldson to get inside and get chunk plays. I don't know if Donaldson's had over 50 yards since Southern.
No, I don't believe so. Luke has, all-purpose yards.
Yeah, but
because they've been using him in the past game, which is good because if he's not getting an open field, getting the ball handed to him, get him a
swing him
dump-off
out.
pass.
Yeah, but Luke's one game over 50 yards since Southern or since Oregon State was against Nevada, where he had 86. 68 of those yards came on one play. So, the 86 looks good at the end, but you do just the most basic amount of digging, and you find that, he really only had like 12 yards after one play.
Yeah.
So, I think getting back to your game, and this is something that, we mentioned earlier, sticking to your guns. Your running game is your guns. And if you're not going to stick with them, you're not sticking to your guns. You got to just stick with it. And that I get, the 45 pass attempts or 49 pass attempts against Colorado State, you're down 28 at halftime. You got to make up some yards. You got to be able to push the ball down the field. But at the same time, this is a 13-point game for most of the middle quarters, and we're throwing the ball 42 times.
Yeah, the whole emphasis going in this year was we have some running backs, Donaldson and Luke in particular, and we are going to run them. They are going to run over everyone. And then you have some adversity, and then they start throwing the ball more. And having a more balanced attack is one thing, but to completely shy away from the run game and say, it's not working. All right, let's have our QB throw the ball.
Be like Air Force, throw the ball 3 times a game. Run it down their throats. I've jokingly, I talked about this after the Georgia Southern game, but after watching this offense for the last few weeks, genuinely bring back the triple option.
Conklin's a
I
big
think
guy. You can run it.
Conklin could probably run a little better than EJ. That's probably why they didn't. EJ, no offense, not the fastest guy, but smart runner. That 30-yard touchdown against Oregon State, huge. He had some
good timing in his head.
big
Nothing's
runs.
there, and let's
Yeah,
put the head down and run.
exactly. But you've got a guy that has, a decent amount of, wheels. At least start running an option. Open it up. Give the run game some sort of variety. That's the biggest thing, is that there's no counter. There's no tosses. There's no sweeps. It's just kind of inside zones, and just it's not going to work all year. As much as these guys are bruising, teams are gonna adapt. Not even just game to game, but drive to drive.
And why not have more packages with both Donaldson and Speedy out there? I mean, bring in Brando, use him more as a block, whatever the case may be. Have your weapons on the field.
Use him as a fullback.
And make the defense think, because like in Coach's corner, the Dogs got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. We'll show you that in just a moment. But make the defense think, because you have all these weapons on the field. Your wide receivers, I mean, aside from Josiah Freeman, no one in the tight ends, no one's really proven themselves. So get Speedy out there, get Donaldson out there, line them up in the backfield, have one motion out, have your weapons spread out instead of just having, all right, Donaldson's in, looks like a run. Hey, it's a run up the middle. We're going to stuff it. Luke comes in, all right, looks like a run, stuffed it. Well,
yeah. I mean, it's at some point it just gets frustrating. And, for a guy that really looked like he had this program going in the right direction at 5-1, going into a place where, team's struggling, and the wheels have just fallen off.
That should have been, I mean, I think it was a sign, that Nevada game coming off a bye being that rusty.
Yeah.
And just not a clean game at all.
I did say that, are they really contenders if they play like this? And they have continued to play like that. They have scored in conference at home in one quarter. They've been shut out in 7 of 8 quarters at home.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, that's one big quarter against Nevada, and that's one win. That is not sustainable.
No, that will keep you out of the Mountain West Championship. And
well, I think the fact that there's 2 undefeated teams and 3 other really good teams up there is going to keep them out, which is unfortunate because this team really looked poised to possibly host, given what they could have, if they go into Colorado State and win, and they pull off, a big win against San Diego State, who's getting national recognition, maybe a loss to Boise, so you're playing in Boise. Or you go undefeated and you're hosting here. It's just
coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
And we can talk about the past all we want and how maybe if they did this, maybe if they game plan, maybe if they didn't come out rusty. The fact of the matter is their Mountain West title hopes are
that big?
That big. You hope that the undefeated teams and all those teams above the Bulldogs can just beat up on each other and somehow, some way.
There's got to be some eating alive of teams. I think I ran this on Saturday because I got curious. There is a path to making it. There is no path to hosting. But I think I think there's 2 teams. Excuse me. I think there's only 2 teams that we can play, and it's going to be San Diego State or UNLV. And last year, the UNLV game was not the best. This year, the San Diego State game was not the best. So, I don't know who you'd rather face, but
that's all down the line. I'm sure.
That's all future. That's all what ifs.
I mean, I'm gonna do the Mad Ents here. We're trying to go 1-0 every week.
Yep.
And
at this point, that's what they have to do. They just have to focus on getting back into the win column, and because it's not in their hands anymore. There's so much outside there's too many outside factors to be worrying about. Oh my God, are we going to be able to play, in December for a title? Like, just focus on your games, because the most important thing for them getting there is they have to win out. So you focus on what you can do. If you end up third or fourth, that's it. Then you end up 9-3, and that's a fantastic start for Matt Entz and this program heading into the Pac-12.
Especially because you're going to have to win against teams you'll see later, and just you're winning good teams against good teams this late in the year. That means something for next year, and could help you retain some players in this
they are
crazy world, wild, wild west.
Currently just 1-2 against future Pac-12 teams. Could be 1-3. Very well could be 1-4 at the end of the year against Utah State. You never know. It's senior night, so you hope you send your seniors off with a win. But Utah State's no shabby team. We saw that with Colorado State.
No, the record, the rank, none of that matters. Because, you're playing these Mountain West opponents. They're going to give you everything they got. Hawaii made it close. Nevada played.
Hawaii's going bowling.
Yeah. So, Bulldogs are 1 win away from clinching a bowl game. But there's some higher hopes for that, and we'll see.
Definitely.
There's a path, but, we can a little.
They just need to focus on themselves. They can't worry about the outside factors.
Go 1-0. And let's head over to the coach's corner. Break down one of the plays from Saturday. It's actually it's a bit of a low light.
Yeah. Well, and there weren't many highlights to
There
choose
weren't
from.
many. That is correct. As much as we can break down the Carson Conklin pick six, that's a near desperation. That's just he's throwing deep down the middle of the field, and that's going to get picked off every day. So he's going to learn from this. But this play in particular is something a bit surprising, I think. You're used to this defense having poise and recognizing these plays. And hats off to San Diego State, because they this is a very interesting play call, and definitely caught the Bulldogs with their hand in the cookie jar.
Hadn't really seen anything like it since that Week 0 game against Kansas. I remember a couple drives where, I think it was just, nerves. Jitters first game, but Bulldogs were biting on easy option reads, and Kansas made them pay. So let's check it out.
Let's head over to the coach's corner. Bam! Look at that. Even with the mic, first down. Spin the ball. You can't see it, but that thing, it'll be spinning for a while. Probably this whole segment. Here we are back in the coach's corner. It's been a minute, and unfortunately, with last game, there's not a whole lot of offensive plays to talk about. And so we talked about being disciplined on defense. We talked about understanding, dissecting plays, and this is something that was quite surprising for Fresno State, because they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. So let's break it down from a fundamental standpoint, of course. So late in the first quarter, 4 minutes left. San Diego State has a 2nd and 7. This round midfield. And so, let me get my trusted pen right here. San Diego State lined up, QB in the shotgun. We have Fresno State, all the DBs are sort of lining up. They have their assignments. Now, pre-snap motion is gonna mess with the heads of these two defenders, Cameron Braca and Elzillian Hamilton. This motion, it's an interesting play call, something that I think Fresno State could get into. Having these motions sort of and disguises could really help with play calling. So, pre-snap, this receiver all the way on the outside is going to come in, right? This pen. There we go. So pre-snap, wide receiver is going to come in. QB gets a snap, takes a quick drop back, and the wide receiver is going to run in front of the RB. Now, what is happening at this time? I talked about Cameron Braca, Elzillian Hamilton to start. They are these two defenders. Let's get the pen going. They're going to be crashing because they're seeing this motion. They're thinking it's a sweep, a reverse. Everything is going this way. Now, these blockers, they pretty much just go straight back. There's not a whole lot of action with them. And so there's so much movement going this way, concentrated over here. People are crashing, they're coming in. This side of the field really doesn't matter. These people are still coming in as well. And what's happening, if you've noticed, I haven't drawn anything with this running back. This is where the confusion sets in. This wide receiver comes in. This running back is coming out. He gets past Hamilton and Braca. Let's switch pens here to get you some color on there. Right here. So, pre-snap, this receiver's going in. These guys are creeping inside. Braca and Hamilton are creeping inside. QB takes the snap. Running back jets outside. QB wide open throw. I mean, look at, this is on a whiteboard. You can't see it. But look at how far these outside defenders have crashed. And this is just an easy catch. He takes it down the sideline, steps out of bounds, around the goal line. Interesting play call, interesting design, something that the Bulldogs could use. Using this outside receiver, moving him inside pre-snap. The running back just gets forgotten about. Imagine Rayshawn Luke, imagine Bryson Donaldson lining up like this. You have all this motion going here. You're thinking it's going to be a run maybe to that side or maybe going back up the middle. Running back gets no one focuses on him. Easy, just a little out right there. QB puts the ball right on him. He goes up the field, steps out near the goal line. Interesting play design, and that would set up San Diego State's first score of the game. Don't have any highlights from Carson Conklin's first start. He threw 2 picks and no scores for the Bulldogs. But maybe we'll see some interesting play designs this Saturday against Boise State on that blue field. You see that blue pen, that blue field at Albertson Stadium. Just a quick little coach's corner for you. Hopefully we'll have some more offensive Bulldog plays next week on Coach's Corner. Let's get back to the setup. Here we go. We're back from the Coach's Corner. What an interesting highlight.
Exactly.
And maybe we'll see.
It had been a while too. It's good to get back in the corner.
Kick the rust off, and we'll see if, because this is an interesting play call from the Aztecs. We'll see if they can that translates to Fresno State's play calling in the future, doing something a bit unorthodox and confusing the defense, because it definitely worked against the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing for a very well poised, what's the word? I'm drawing a blank.
I know disciplined.
Discipline, yes. A very disciplined defense that Boise State has. You're going to have to get tricky. You're going to have to reach into that bag. So we'll see.
Got some good defensive backs over there. And just Boise State's a very solid team. They will be without 2 of their receivers, though. One had a season-ending injury, and the other was suspended for conduct against Nevada.
Oh, what happened?
I believe it was some pushing and shoving, a little bit of a scuffle.
Yeah.
The rivalry games brings something out.
Was it warranted? Did you get to see the play?
I don't have the video. I read about it, and coach was not happy, and he said that he's going to be out a game. So it's serious.
All right.
Enough to warrant a suspension. So Madison will be without 2 receivers, one obviously the rest of the year. But their top receiver will not be on the field.
Might be a big advantage for the Bulldogs.
We'll see. Jakari Embry, Azilian Hamilton. I'm sure they know all about that. They'll be game planning with some wide receiver 3s and 4s. We'll see how far into the bag on that depth
Maybe
chart.
they line up Malik Sherrod out there. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just throwing names out there.
Who knows? Yeah, we don't know. But
I'm not Spencer Danielson. I don't have to make those decisions.
Yeah, we'll see how the Boise State Broncos game plan against a tough Bulldog defense. And, of course, we'll see how Conklin does in his first away start. Scores first touchdown as Bulldog. We'll see on Saturday.
We'll see.
Bring you that coverage, of course. And
you
now,
really hope.
Yeah, we'll see. It took EJ a couple games for his first touchdown, but we'll see. Heading over to, we started this whole thing off talking about the sports equinox, things going on at the same time. And guess what's starting in just a couple of days? On Monday, November 3rd.
Good old basketball.
The Hoops is back in the Save Mart Center. Later on, it'll be back in the Selland Arena. But it is back in the Save Mart Center
we
on
go.
Monday with a doubleheader.
Big doubleheader.
Mm-hmm. Women's team starts it off, and then the men's play later that night.
It's going to be exciting.
Hoops is back.
You know, basketball was the first sport I covered with the Collegian last semester. It was really fun. Didn't get to witness a win, but I did get to witness some good games. And, you know, this team has more than 8 players in the rotation now.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be huge. We've seen some reports coming out of these last few days of practice where they're holding scrimmages. And they had a scrimmage.
One is, I think, has a little bit more validity than the other.
Yeah, we had there was a scrimmage against Cal Poly on, I want to say last Saturday, not the 25th, but the 19th
Sounds
or
right.
18th.
And then the Houston.
Yeah,
was
that
Tuesday.
was an interesting one.
Yeah.
We have a report that let me see if I can find it in our text. Yes, from Barstool Mountain West. Now, already off to a great start because, yeah, but apparently Fresno State men's basketball, notorious 6-26 record,
Made history last year.
historically bad, beat the University of Houston, the Cougars, who were in the national title game against the University of Florida last year. If you hadn't seen it and I told you that, what did you think? What would you think the final score would have been? Like, point differential.
I would say the Dogs would have lost by a hefty amount.
Yeah, well, this report says that there was a Bulldog win. And it wasn't just a win, it was a hefty win, 97-51. I don't know if Houston brought out like the local middle school or
Again, we don't know the validity of that report.
this is like Houston we have a problem university
We
or
don't know what's going on. But we think it's interesting. Maybe someone's pulling a prank over at Barstool, but
yeah.
that would be
But
crazy.
the one scrimmage that we do know that happened it was a closed scrimmage, kind of kept under wraps. They beat Cal Poly, so you know I believe they were a Big West title team last year. All Big West teams don't make title, so there's some. You know, there's a decent team in the Big West, so you know. Notable 12 seed from last year's playoff, UC San Diego in the Big West, will be in the WCC next year.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's nice to see. You know, you just kind of hope that it's kind of a thing where the Bulldogs can just find their game. Like last year. Every time they tried to find something else would happen.
One step forward, 15 steps back, and just rinse and repeat. You have so much going on. Players leaving, players ineligible to play, players banished from playing.
Players coming back, players being reinstated.
A whole lot going on, and you hear Vance Wahlberg. People think dribble drive, and while that may be true, the big thing that he said is defense. And people like to harp on dribble drive and the offense. That's
great.
Yes, it is change. It has changed the way basketball is played. But the big thing that he wants to do is create pressure and rotate guys on defense, which we've seen with the women's team, which we'll touch on in just a moment. But Wahlberg wants to press. Wants to rotate fresh bodies in there, and you look at what happened last year. You look at the bench. You have literally, it would be like this. You have 2 players dressed out.
Maybe a third.
Yeah. In that first round of the Mountain West tournament, you had 7 active players.
Yeah, no amount of conditioning can get guys to play a high intensity for 40 minutes. So it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of freshmen, so you're going to see, maybe a little bit of growing pains, but at the same time, maybe this team's gelled a lot over the course of the offseason and has been, as many freshmen as they have, maybe the camaraderie of being a freshman has built great chemistry. So, you got, a leader in Zayon coming back.
Been there, yeah.
DJ Douglas was there
In the locker room,
Yeah,
unable to play because of injury a lot of times.
but so it's not a completely new team. There's a little bit of return, but you're just kind of hoping for a better season. You're hoping for more than 6 wins.
Mm-hmm.
So
We'll see. I mean, they've added some foreign talent, some bigger guys, some length, and that's something they struggled with that last year. Rebounding,
yeah.
because it's one thing rebounding. I remember I talked about it, being physical in the paint, but then there's also just you can't go out there with your tallest guys being 6'5", 6'6". You need length, and that's something that they've added and worked on.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with some of these foreign players. And then, of course, you have the Clemson transfer hybrider who could shoot the rock and did pretty good against Cal Poly.
Yeah, a report came out from that scrimmage that he had, 31 points?
Quite a bit of threes.
It's like 9 of 16 from 3. So, that's going to help the pace, quick transition threes, press up, force some turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing last year was the second chance points. And I don't remember if it was against Utah State or if it's against Boise State when I covered. But they gave up like 3/4 of their points were second chance points against one of those teams. And, against a team like Utah State who made the tournament, against a team like Boise State that was 1 win away from getting an auto bid, you can't do that. You have to be able to rebound, take away opportunities from these teams when they miss, and you can't give them second chances or third or fourth chances at that, which sometimes they did do that. So
we'll see how Wahlberg does in his second year with the Bulldogs. See how this whole team does. A lot of new faces in a lot of different places. And we're talking about this high tempo, high energy. Sounds like we're talking about the women's team with their new head coach, all these new pieces. They're pressing up. They're pressuring. They're playing fast, high-paced basketball, and you saw it in that scrimmage against UC Merced.
Yeah, that was, tip-off, and they had a set play. I just turned my camera on, and it was already 2-0. I was like, wait a minute. Guys, can we breathe? Let's get an introduction to this team.
That is the introduction.
Yeah.
Head coach Ryan McCarthy in his introductory press conference said mayhem. And
the 2 red shirts on the team, on their backs, mayhem. So, that's the culture, I think. And he has the resume for it. It was 323 and 80 at the University of Alaska Anchorage. So, this guy, it was great. You missed an assignment, boom, you were out, someone else was in. So they have a deep team. Really found some players though. They have some hoopers. Jayla Gamble is going to be a name to watch out for.
Write that down.
She had 21 points, and we're up, 30 points, and she's still causing mayhem.
mayhem.
It was a theme that lasted the game, and reporter that was covering it, Chase Davis, he was like, "Man, I don't want to talk about the defense all the time, but that's just what it is." I mean, steals, pressures. I mean, it was just there was a lot of, chaos. It was just overwhelming for the Bobcats. But I think, the thing is that, they're going to be a deep team. And they're going to be quick, and they are not going to, allow any kind of mistake from anyone on their team, or he is not afraid to pull the trigger. He does. There's no you've made 4 consecutive threes. Oh, you missed a defensive assignment. You're out. Boom.
And that's good for culture building because
No plays off.
no, can't take a play off.
Nope.
You have to go hard every time, every play, every possession. Mayhem.
Yep.
It is mayhem at the Save Mart Center.
Yeah. I think I saw the preseason poll for women's. They were, I think, projected second last.
Which is interesting because they had a very solid finish, and they were a game away from the Mountain West title.
Yeah, but I mean, new team, new roster, new coach, a lot of transfers. I get it, but second last, I think that's a little. I think that's a little disrespectful.
Yeah.
Especially for a guy that's won as much as he has at Anchorage. I think, could have put him, middle of the pack. If we do bad, hard to tell. If they do good, hard to tell.
But second to last.
You're just putting yourself in a world where, they do good in the Mountain West, and that's all the motivation they need to make a title run. So I think it'll be good seasons for both teams. I think the men's program's on the upswing. Obviously, there's not much that can go worse than a 6-26 season with losing 3 players. But I think it's going to be a different. There's going to be a different feel in the Save Mart Center this year, and I hope that building gets a little full this year.
I'm sure you'll feel a difference on Monday, November 3rd, because you got doubleheader. What? Women's starts at 5?
5 p.m., men's 7:30. So, I got a little bit of time for a bathroom break, and that's it.
Mayhem. Should be mayhem for both games.
Yes.
We'll see how well the Save Mart Center attendance does with basketball
Monday.
coming back.
So, no excuses. Maybe
College hoops is back.
Maybe there's a Monday night game, but that's the middle of the season. It's a November football game. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Opening night, college hoops, Bulldogs are back. Why wouldn't you pack the Save Mart Center?
Exactly.
So we'll see. We'll of course bring you that coverage when the season starts. We're excited to get into another new season. We're ready. We're itching.
We're
to
in
go.
it. We're in it.
Basketball is back.
We're in the
and
thick
we're
of
ready
it.
to cover.
This is just. It's just the time of year, man.
Let me tell you, man.
Yeah.
November 3rd can't come quick enough. But of course, we have Halloween. We have senior night with the soccer team.
Bringing coverage from that.
We got Boise State on Saturday. The Bulldogs, that football team. See if they can bounce back and that 2-game losing streak. So much going on that we will, of course, bring you coverage for. And I have to give a shout-out to the women's golf team. Specifically,
Shout out.
Amelia Garibaldi did the sports segment, Fresno State Focus. Go check that out on YouTube. Shameless plug, I know. But the last 6 holes of the tournament, 6 birdies.
That's clutch.
Clutch. That's ice in the veins. That is clutch. Her first collegiate tournament win. Shout out to Amelia Garibaldi.
I know that
winning.
if you're getting, bird names, birdies, eagles, albatross, condors, whatever,
It means something.
that's good.
Yeah.
That means you're playing the least amount of golf,
Mhm.
and that is the objective.
This guy knows golf.
I know ball.
This guy knows golf.
It's because I read this guy's column in our last pop print, why golf is the hardest sport. So you should check that out.
Yeah. So shout out to Amelia Garibaldi. The final tournament of the fall season, of course, men's and women's will pick up later next year in February. So of course, had to give a shout out to the golf team.
Of course.
That'll do it for us here at the Collegian Cooldown. Just giving you a little taster. We have so much in the future. Of course, talking about the football team, but we have a lot of different coverage coming your way that we are excited to bring you.
Very.
And that'll do it. Thank you for tuning in, as always.
Before we go, a little update from the World Series.
Oh.
Blue Jays are up 3-1.
Ooh, Blake Snell, was it 3 pitches, 2 home runs?
3 pitches, 2 home runs.
Start the game. Hey, we'll see Game 6 Friday. Game 7
maybe Saturday.
Saturday, I think. Yeah, because they go 2-3-2.
Yep, 2-3-2.
I like that.
I like
go back
that.
to back.
I like 2-3-2 format. I think it's better than 2-2-1-1-1.
Yeah, I mean with 2-2-1-1-1, you have to put more breaks in between.
Yeah.
So I can understand that.
2-2-1, I guess you can take away home field, home court, home ice advantage, whatever. But 2-3-2, something about it just feels right because you get that 3-game series feel.
Yeah.
Of
And
baseball.
you're just constant action.
Exactly.
Going back to back. I was kind of surprised because I had not when the World Series started, I had not caught up with the scheduling. Game 1 just happened the next day. Game 2's tonight. Oh, shoot. We're going back to back here. So I think with baseball, it's a good mix. I think when you get into basketball, I think it's a solid format, 2-2-1.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see if Otani and
Bring
the
in
Dodgers
a
can
7-game
do it.
series for Super Bowl. That's what I want.
Yeah, that'll no
Back-to-back
injuries at
games.
all. Everyone's brain
Yeah.
won't be mush after that. So thank you for tuning in to the Cleveland Cooldown. Signing off. Peace.